Sanje chodan zo jin jono la shanche pada dana josam dage chiche jebe sonam je la penche sanje raba sho Sanje chodan zo jin jono la shanche pada dana josam je dage shanzo jebe sonam Dalai penchara sanje drapa jo sanje chodan soje jano lai shanja pada dana japsam Nage chishe jebe tonam je Dalai penchara sanje drapa jo. Good morning again.
Morning, Geshe.
Okay, have one more tea, or coffee, or juice, whatever you have. Yeah. Okay, it's a wonderful to see all of you. It's wonderful, especially, and it looks like all of you are healthy. That's more important. I hope it looks like you're physically, everyone's healthy. I hope you are mentally also, all of you are healthy. Sometimes it's difficult, you know. Sometimes we have no reason, just we got not very healthy mind. Yeah, this has happened. But, you know, I think right now, like, especially this time, the pandemic time, everyone's religion, non-religion, try to keep their mind to peace and just relax. There's so many different ways. You know, if who don't believe the religion, maybe they do some maybe therapies, something else. Who believe that, you know, God and the Creator, also they pray. As we are Buddhism, also we pray Mother Tara and total meditation, and also understand a little bit the reality, the nature of the impermanent, and emptiness, and cause and effect, like that things. Everyone try to keep their mind to basically to become. That's good. Sometimes work, sometimes doesn't work. Then even the Buddhism, we try to meditation, we pray. Sometimes it's also make a little bit more worse. You know, when we, I was studying, you know, while study, we're not always very interested to study. Sometimes we don't want to go. We call, you know, nga, you know, drum. The monks, they can call, okay, time to come puja, time to come debate, you know. No one, they don't have the, you know, they don't send email, come to that. They don't have someone go to call them. They don't call phone. They're on a big drum. There's a boom. You can hear him like a couple miles. Then the one of the monk go, you know, drop the monastery, that they could do, you know, boom, boom, boom. I was one time that. You have to go before no one there. You have to go first because you're the person to calling people. Then sometimes puja in the debate, you have to go debate morning and evening, both. Sometimes evening, you know, the debate, they're calling them. It's like something, you know, peace, you know, wood. No, how is that? They bid you luck. So you don't want to go to bed class. You don't want to debate, you don't want to study, you know, something this happened. This is, you know, not someone that's unusual. This has happened for everyone. Sometimes you're very happy, you're very interested to go puja, prayers, you want to learn more things. He said, no, this is our mind. We're up, down, up, down, up, down. It's okay. And also, sometimes we think too much. He said, okay, how can I control my mind? When I'm angry or I'm not happy or someone bothers me, how can I control? You think about all the time that this is not good. Then that bad mind always here coming. You know, anything you more familiar with, that mind more manifest. Manifest or rest or rest. How you say? Manifest or rest?
Arise.
Arise, always. You know, arise. Therefore, you don't want to think about, okay, when I'm angry, how can I stop what I'm thinking? Don't think that too much. Usually, better to think about the good quality for compassion, bodhicitta, loving kindness. You know, sometimes your mind is not really clear, then try to better to not thinking for the negative minds, or how can I control, or what can I do, or don't think it is too much. Otherwise, they'll become over. Better to something else. Example, you know, if you have a little bit toothache, then you always think about that. They always bothers you because you think it is always. You do something else, it forgot. That doesn't that. You doesn't feel. It's here, but you doesn't feel because you're not mind just focus that. Therefore, a lot of things also, you know, if something bothers you, better to not focus that situation just a little while. You know, example, you know, when we have very strong pain, doctor just give temporary just check the painkillers. That doesn't solve the problem, but the temporary just put painkillers. It's exactly the same. You know, sometime we have some situation going on, and better sometimes I'm going to meditation. I'm going to pray out. I'm just pray meditation. It doesn't work. Do something else. I can take care easily. Better that way also. Just remind you. Then most things, you know, I always mention we have to understand the nature of the samsara. It's not good place, but it is like that. We have to hear. Therefore, there's so many challenges for everyone. Some people show very easily. Some people doesn't show up. They keep the problems in the mind. Therefore, it doesn't matter. Everyone has some situations. Therefore, the samsara is not a comfortable place. If we accept or understand the nature of the samsara, then we have some difficult time. We say, oh yeah, this is the samsara. Like, you know, like summertime, lot of raining. We're not very surprised. Oh yeah, it's summer. If summertime, then snow coming, then everyone's, how can it come snow? This is not possible. It's summer. Because we don't accept that. Right? Therefore, you know, it's nature, the samsara has always challenge. We just accept, understand that, then also less struggle. Then also understand the impermanent is very important. Then we understand impermanent, there are things to change for our life. Then we're not very surprised. Yeah, this is a nature, impermanence. Okay? Like that. Then always, I just say, don't push to you practice and meditation, not forced. But if your mind say, okay, now I want to give up, then that time you are also careful. Therefore, not forced, but not stop. Or sometimes also do vacation. It's okay. If you have some commitments, you have to do that. But otherwise, just keep relaxed. Just take vacation. Do walk. Do some watch things and talk on the phone. Sometimes, when we study Buddhism, if you're not very smart, it makes you more nervous. Oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I'm not able to do that. I'm not allowed to do that. Is it bad? It is bad. It's not like that. Therefore, if we study Buddhism, we need to more open mind because we understand more reality, right? Therefore, this is a very important tool for our daily life. If we understand the situation, everyone, then we can very relax. I think I already told the one story. When Buddha's time, one mother, her one own child is passed away, is died. She got very upset. She's very sad. Even she doesn't want to, bury the body. Bury?
Yes, very.
Bury the body. She doesn't want to bury. She doesn't hold. Then, then she come to Buddha's place. She asked Buddha, can you make my son come back? The Buddha said, okay, yeah, I will do, yeah. You leave the body here, then go to the 100 families. Ask each family question. Did anyone die your family? Then she got all the families. My mother died, my husband died, my wife died, my children died. She couldn't find any single family, no one died, the 100 families. Then before she thought this is just her problem. She's very sad. Then she said, wow, it's not just me. It's like everyone. And she come back to Buddha. Then Buddha told her, do you find anyone someone passed away at their home? She said, no, there have so many problems. I found someone's children, someone's husband, someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's father. He said, yeah, then Buddha said, this is the nature. Then she just accept. Then she able to, bury her children's body. Like that. If you understand the, nature and accept, and your problem become much better. Okay? Yeah. Have some more water? Good. Do you see? Thank you. We are very wonderful. We just stay at home, have some tea, talk Dharma, lesson. It's good. Then also, another one very important. I think the special Western people, understand a little bit about karma. Then you feel, oh, I did very bad things. I'm a terrible person. I'm very bad. How's that? Punishment yourself? Is it punishment?
Punish yourself.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not. Don't punish me. If you want punishment, you want to punish me, you are ignorance, not you. Therefore, this is important, okay? No one's perfect except Buddha. Therefore, everyone do mistakes. It's okay. It's everyone mistakes is also not just intentionally, also controlled by ignorance. Therefore, we need to our action and our nature, human's nature, and also the action come from the ignorance, or action and through or push from the ignorance. Therefore, we need to separate. Like example, someone have alcohol. We say alcohol, right? The person do alcohol, they do bad things. We're not very angry at the person. We say, oh, he's alcoholic. Do we put separate the person's action and the alcohol? They say, oh, he's an alcoholic, he's a do no. Anyway, if we're not very surprised, right? If someone alcoholic person do some bad things, we're not very surprised. Yeah, he's alcoholic. Yeah, there's a problem. If someone not alcoholic then do something, we say, what's wrong with this person? Hey, usually he's a very good person. What's going on? Because the person, we know that he's nature to alcoholic, what he do all the time. Because we accept that. We knew that. Someone is always very perfect, then one day he do mistake, then everyone's surprised. Because we not accept the person, good one do bad things. Therefore you accept, and secondly, you understand that the personality or reality is big difference.
So Geshe, I think maybe I got the word wrong. It was, were you saying don't blame yourself, blame the ignorance?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't blame yourself, blame the ignorance. That's correct. You can blame your ignorance, but not why ignorant. It's not like that, you know. But yeah, just totally don't think, you know, I'm the bad person. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't do good things. Oh, for me, I didn't. Sometimes because it doesn't help for our mind, especially our mind be a little bit nervous and not happy. Then if you think it that way, it makes more, you know, put down. Better to, you know, good things. Sem shomba there. How you call sem shomba?
Discourage.
Discourage. When you have discourage, you need to courage for yourself.
Encourage.
Encourage yourself. Yeah. We are discouraged, we don't want to do anything. You need to also encourage. Encourage. You know, we did so many good things. We can say we can do very good things. Also, even if we are very bad, we didn't kill anyone. Secondly, just right? We didn't go to the bad thing to broken the big law. We didn't go to jail. Have you been to jail? Therefore, we didn't do bad things, you know. We didn't steal things. You know, we didn't lie big things. We didn't do bad things. You know, of course, the small things, you know, even my neighbors, sometimes they have a lot of complain each other. Sometimes they're together, you know. It's just nature, just samsara. We live all the community, you know, everywhere, you know. Therefore, always very important to don't blame yourself. When you discourage, makes a little bit encourage. Is that correct? Okay? Yeah, this is important, okay? Sometimes if we just put it, practice meditation, it doesn't work. We don't know what to do, what think, you know, like that. Therefore, we are not bad person. Everyone follow ignorance. It's not just some group's problem. It's a whole nature that's going on right now. You see now the global problem. Like, you know, how you say, a lot of problems like fire, thunderstorms, flood. I'm sure they have some place also earthquake. We don't heard that. Because human beings, by the ignorant, you know, attachment, do so many things on the earth. Now this all happen like that. Therefore, not just one person's problem. Okay? It makes sense? Or it doesn't make sense?
Makes sense.
Good. Sometimes we don't want to treat it always. Dharma. Little bit. Sometimes it's talk about some stuff everywhere. This becomes more mixed, more help. And also, you say, okay, yeah, like that. Oh, this makes sense. Oh, yeah, like that. Not just leave that. You have to do that, okay? When you have some difficult time, discourage, then think that about, oh, I'm not bad. I didn't do bad things. Then you have difficult time. Oh, I'm not worse person. I'm not homeless. I have job. I have house. I have family. I have friends. You know. Therefore, you have to put good things. Then remember that thing. Okay. Okay. Now my English is finished. I hope I can go to buy some English. Do you saw any place to sell the English? Therefore, knowledge, the English, I don't know, understand English is a knowledge. The knowledge we cannot buy. Also, knowledge, no one can steal. Right? Even Buddha said, I cannot transfer my knowledge for you. It's really true, right? Because I teach you, if you learn, then you can develop, cultivate your knowledge like that. Right now, the technology, you can buy anything here. Go Amazon.com, buy everything. Google, buy everything. But knowledge, we cannot buy. Happiness, we cannot buy. Because it is our how you say, quality of our person's mind. Things it's never happened to buy. Even, you know, how much the technology developed, we cannot buy to able to buy the knowledge. We can buy the how to develop our knowledge. You know, we can buy books, we can listen to YouTube. You know, if you want to do something, you can go to YouTube, you can learn a lot of things also. But if you don't study, you don't develop your own, then it's not possible. Okay, my English is finished. Yeah. 다 쟤나 가정 하나서 다 샹직 쌤 가르쳐서 가로. 너도 쌤께도 시에서 봐. 다 쌤께도 시에다 다 데려 가서 샹직 쌤 쟤나 가르도.
So since we have already talked about generation of the mind of enlightenment, how about generating mind of enlightenment today?
알아? 아니 다 데리 가상가도 시야 됐다. 아니 진짜 명화 된지 거는 샹직 쌤 쟤다데 가도 다 차상지 다 디데로 넣어서 말이야. 와, 시다다 파 제오시나 따도 파 제오쇼 시야요다. mam보시나 공고비야로래.
So we have already talked about how to generate bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment, through the sevenfold cause and effect instruction, right? So we have gone through we have covered the whole process. Of course, there's a different way of explaining, and can go very extensively. But anyway, whatever we, the length we used, we cover most of it already.
아니 텐로다데 다 진짜면 다 티질라야 아니 다제냠제 거는 샹집 쌤께도 연구를 대원서마다 로종 거만 연구를 했어.
And so next is the way to generate mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta through equalizing and exchanging self with others. So this is when we when it's talking about mind training, lojong.
제가 대전마다 가도 다 로종 된데마다 저 바지 마 연구를 하여튼 마산이 갈래 다 로종 거대. 아니 갈래 그러봐.
So that is explained in relation to the mind training, like the seven, what do you call that? 7 mind training?
7 verses of mind training?
7
yeah,
verses.
like that.
Yeah,
no 7 verses.
7 verses. 7, what was that?
7 limbs?
Steps?
Huh?
7 limbs?
No.
no.
7 point.
I think
7 point.
7 step. Yeah.
7 point, yeah, 7 point.
Yeah. 아니 가서 산이다 대주망도 되는 마치로네. 또다 그냥 니네 초월 팽그래. 제가 아도 죽전도 로가나타 페샤 데 징니니만 로고 그러스 때문에 당아도 패도 가와 이나 때마 전에 로고도.
Yeah, so it's a 7-point. 7 verses is not quite correct because there's more than 7 verses. So anyway, so it is also explained in the first chapter, and then we'll go through that as much as possible.
제가 다 장주 셈제다 삼라 간제 다 젠데 접발라도 고도 가다 란데 접발라 니제 가로 아니 장주 셈 맞잖아 탑모도 삼네네 다 공고도 와.
So in order to benefit others, of course, you have to gain enlightenment, full enlightenment, and even to accomplish one's one purpose fully, one needs to gain enlightenment like that. So by thinking like that, you have to meditate.
제가 안에 대진했다 이제 전부 잘라 제거로 왔다 이제 사대 뻔에 안에 뱀무적은 내가 전부 자와 전부 연속으로 왔어.
So with that, you generate the great compassion. The great compassion is the root of all the enlightenment and bodhicitta.
해건조. 제다바나 니제가 폐도도 야보지 배나 니제가 폐도도 야보지 고와이나 안에 텔라 대바 니제라 대바제도 왔어. 대바제는 니제가 톰적은 넘바야 오는 것으로 와.
So if you develop or see the benefits of the great compassion, then you will have the wish to achieve it or the wish to generate it, and then you will have the aspiration to generate it.
제가 샴 니제 세대 간소 방문 포함해 적가라 대가 간제 샴 니제 대가 샘제 젠발라 간제 초야 보이 때도 거다 간다.
So once we generate loving kindness and compassion, and that will give a good feeling to others.
제가 샘제 등로 젠발나 다 전화도 변나 나를 기당 시민야도 여러분 진도 하고도 와. 전화도 가지 바 샴보 제와도 샘제대 콜레레 지까지 그 초르거다.
So even the animals, can feel the good feeling coming from you. Like many of you have cats and dogs at home, right? However much you love your pets, that much close they feel with you. So there's one cat there. Somebody has a cat.
제가 남주천나 미절에는 콘도 보인 저쪽 말에 데블라 보이요. 간제 콘주고 털거래. 간제 저하고 샴샴데 그 털거다.
So usually the animals, they don't even allow you to come nearby, let alone touching them. But when you have love and compassion towards them, they feel that. They can feel your love coming from you, and therefore they don't mind you touching you. They are not scared of you.
제가 다 촌도 콘돌라에 파지 콘도가 남지되나 콘도 세게 돼. 다 지나도 돼. 땡뉴에.
So if sometimes do you express anger towards them sometimes, and do they feel that? Do they see that?
아니 콘도 덴토를 들어 그래 콘도.
They will go and hide under the bed.
제가 간제 콘도 하고 그래. 간제 지나도 때 봐야 나도 쳐도 다 심미도 하고 뭐 쳐도 올래기도 왔어. 그 전다 코 샴보치나 배 가마이 가가지 전다 아프지도 그 갈래 가마 꾸블이야 투는 코파 쳐도 그래.
So you can see that maybe I don't know much about the cat, but the dogs, you can see very obvious. Like when you are very loving and nice to the dog will be like wagging its tail and coming to you. But if you shout at it, and then it will hide its tail under its leg and then hide somewhere else.
제가 간제 샴세세데 아니 단다 군디고 송고도 아마 당가디 아니 뿌고 주주니랑 것만 데리고네 따제 제네 아니 간제 로바 쟁에 아니 샴세 쟁에다 참아 흘려 용하지 야 파드라 지금 딱가로 로바 마치와치 지금 누가 쟁에대 아니 간제야 아니 지금 샘라야 남라 용 같은데 뿌고 주주 카타 마시나 텐데 용도 대한 세리비가 따제 제고서로 와.
So His Holiness also mentioned about the importance of the compassion and love, affection and love. Like even the scientists, when they did research on that, they find that there's very strong feeling coming from even like the kids. When you love them, they can feel it like that.
제가 강다라 아니 샴체 세대 아니 니파 가시 요와 탐제 소소 셈발 흘러 용어 소소 그다 남이 침대 찾아 흘러 용어 다때 니파 샴체 편해들이.
So however much love and compassion you have among each other, there will be more, peace and relax, in the even in the like in the families, the children and all the the family members will be more at peace and gentle.
제가 몇대 미바라변아 샴체 가시 슉 채워 탐제 아니 나론 투바 쇼고 말해.
And also among the families or among people, however much loving kindness and compassion you have, that much peaceful you will be with each other. There will be no quarrels or fights with each other.
제가 듣는다. 제가 되는 거 찍지. 제가 안에 샴체가 편해되거나 샴체라 안에 대바지. 대바요나 안에 대통령은 눈받지 그래. 되네. 될 깔리자 도로.
And so if you see the benefits of the loving kindness and compassion, then you will see that you will have faith or belief in loving kindness and compassion. So when you have that belief, then you will have the aspiration to generate it.
아니 다나지가 땅 고외가 내 땅에 야보 하거나 아니 그 대스 강연 저와 지금 잔디 머리 오는 그 샘처럼 두고 말아 그 다다들에 섬고 연구를 봤어.
And also, like when you understand the nature of the samsara, then you will not be so disturbed, when something goes up and down.
제당에 라인 바페나 약간 자와다는 것도 하사가 말아. 약간 가다는 것도 샘 두고라. 대듯이 말해. 징어도 켈레요를 켈레가 말해.
So if you understand and accept the nature of samsara, then you will not be disturbed so much. Just like I mentioned earlier about if there is rain in the summertime, then you don't get surprised. But if there is rain in the wintertime, then you get surprised. Or if you get snow in the summertime, then you get surprised. Or you complain about it because you don't accept it. So it's difference in is whether you accept it or not.
제대로나 지나기면 모라 당기라 모라 놈조나 모라 대그려 봐. 나도 하사가 말어 와시. 다 놈조 다지 제셔는 나도 한테 갈신에 빼서 단대 뒤세들라 조선에 제그려 봐서. 가다 놈조나 조금면 나도 하고 그러 와.
근데 니버디?
그나 다지 모라 대 쩐저 보셔나 야 샘나치 가로 놈조 많이 봐지. 야 더 제셔는 나도 뒤세들라 갈신에 나 빼서는데 나 다다 거기서 직설만 감도해 그러 봐. 다 놈조나 고 조명아도 하고 그러 와.
So like if the car runs out of gas, then it's not going to run, right? It's not going to work. So you accept that. And it's, oh yeah, the gas, it's out of gas, so of course it will not work or run. But then if something breaks down and then you have never expected, right? So never expected and something breaks down and you can't move your car, then you'll be very worried or you'll be complaining so much about why did this happen at this time when I'm so in rush? Because you are not expecting that or you are not accepting or expecting that.
제가 다 간제 안에 샴니제에서 빼 무슨 내가 첨보르셨다. 대 빼서 강간 노송도 와.
So anyway, loving kindness and compassion is very, very important in our life.
제가 니제 첨보대 빼나 다 가사의 상제와이나 상마제베네나 다 상제로제가 상제에서는 안에 곰고를 뺏겨신 버려 가서 마몰라서 해 봤어.
So compassion, great compassion is very important. Even before gaining enlightenment, or even in the process of gaining enlightenment, or even after gaining enlightenment, it's very important.
제가 샹접 선보 온보 노트 간데지나 처음에가 자와 투사대 이제 전부 도를 했으라고도.
So all the bodhisattvas, whether they are of sharp faculty or dull faculty, they all are based on great compassion.
그나 샹접 선보 온보 뜻보에 봐나 안에 담보 변의 샘제 탐축이 전에 상제 공부 토고도 선배 맛이 텐데 두존에 가면 안에 다 이제 곰 안에 되네 이제 제 안에 되네 안에 제사비 제라 안에 신에 안에 다 파시 두고냐면 라서 버리는 안에 또 많이 안에 용화 대양 또와 대양 안에 단다 이제라래 레스 안에 또 손으로.
And also like the dull faculty bodhisattva and he or she generous bodhicitta, generous first starts with the the importance of gaining enlightenment. And so I think I must achieve state of full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, and for that, then you start, generating bodhicitta by going through all these steps, of the sevenfold cause and effect instruction, like starting with the equanimity and recognizing all sentient beings from other, then all the way to great compassion. Yeah? So once you generate the great compassion, then you will take the responsibility, and in order to do that, then you will see the importance of gaining enlightenment, and then you develop this spontaneous or genuine altruism, wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then after that, then you see that, okay, so now, you have generated the mind of enlightenment. Is that just enough? Is that enough to gain enlightenment? No, so you have to do the practice, right? So now, what do you have to do to gain enlightenment? So then, engage in the, practice of the six perfections, meditating on emptiness and so forth. And then, so in the case of the sharp faculty bodhisattva, just like other bodhisattvas, he will also have mind wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
And then kowa payan dodo mendo, danda payan dodo mendo, tache chene, ane danda payan is the nam towana daku tombanye to, ane tejina ane Jangchub semchina ya sanjiru yores.
So then he will check, whether it's possible to gain enlightenment or not. Is it possible? Yes, it is necessary to gain enlightenment, but is it possible or not? And I see. So if it's possible, then what obstructs it from gaining it? What obstructs from gaining it? Then upon searching, then you will find that, okay, this is the delusions, the obstructions and delusions. They are the one who prevents one from gaining enlightenment. And is it possible to abandon them or not? And so the root of the delusion, the ignorance, grasping the things as existing truly. And so, in order to overcome that, then you have to realize the emptiness. So then they will work, to come to realize emptiness. Then once they have realized emptiness, then they will, they will say, oh yeah, it's possible to gain enlightenment. And now, we'll engage in the process, of generating the bodhicitta.
어디시 다 되네 요래 되다 안에 대변아 어두지 되다 단 점점 하는 것도 되네 산책 샘 깨마다 산책 샘 깨가 지금 다 깨서 그 tro그지 아니 가도 산책 샘 아니 좋아단 레베 아니 좋아다 마드네 아니 산책 샘 깨와이나 빼편도서다 가서 군두고 아니 송소 간조 파시 준조 지지네 대뭐 제대로 저래 가다 지라이 봐.
And so this is very important, to generate the bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And so you have to find all the causes and conditions to generate it. And so one of the conditions for generating bodhicitta is through the rites. So going through the rituals, the rites, to generate bodhicitta.
어제도 내 제나코 그 얘가서 그 겹사 맞더라.
So if we do that, there's no risk at all, only benefits.
탐도 Jangchub 생거 도발하나야 때때 도마 뽐 도마야 보지 좀 얻나야 예바사이니까 여러분.
But if you take the bodhisattva vow, then there's a risk, as well as benefit. There's a risk also because if you set the vows, you have to keep the vows, right? So if you are not able to keep the vows, then there's a risk of generating more negative karmas.
Oh yeah, 당어도 Jangchub 쌤 깨가 좋아진 된다.
So now we're going to recite that rites, okay, the prayer rites to generate bodhicitta.
Maybe who has? Ale, do anyone of the pere? Maybe Jennifer, can you make me co-host?
Okay.
I'm here.
I have a copy, but I'll make you. Oh, actually, Bob's the host. Can you make Geshe co-host, Bob, please?
I can share you. Good. Do you see? Are you guys see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. This one, right?
It's further down. You scroll down.
And then they tambo thing on the jump road and Shanchu Semche do us.
So the first one, is the refuge and bodhicitta.
And then Tene Pachi de Bayo.
Enedida, Theodida, you just somebody.
What is it about? Tajadabado, Tande Sanji Chum de Yaso, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Tea Odala, and on the Yanadi Yamidra.
Yeah.
And Yanadi Yamid, Dipachavala, Tande Pemzin and Gajamuchadirwa.
So then after that, there was the praise to Buddha Shakyamuni, and then there's the seminal prayers, right? So number 4, is the generating bodhicitta. So number 3, the seminal prayer or seminal practices is very important for accumulating merit and purifying the negativities.
아니 대시 다 되는 바 아니 건조선라 다 점제 디파트먼트 주셔서는데 아니 다 점로던 레데베 거네 강다라 나 샹주고 다 샹주 샘 렘베기 좋아서 그러다 네 샹주 샘 세다 샹주 샘이 도말림이 좋아 나라래 좋아 지바레스.
So so this the number 4 is the generating the rights for generating bodhicitta, and it's the same prayer, when you take the bodhisattva vow. And so now here is you're not taking bodhisattva, you are generating the bodhicitta. Generating bodhicitta and taking bodhisattva vow are the 2 different things, right? So here you're just generating bodhicitta, so there's no risk, only benefits. So it's the same prayer used for generating bodhicitta and taking the bodhisattva vows.
당본데 건조선라 아니 잡선로 잠로듯이 아니 로여가나 지라 뭐 디파탐조 소소샤 아니 바데 아니 다 소소가 아니 디선도 사베 아니 디선도 사셰베 아니 디파 강하게 바데 아니 소소소 파샤가 이들어 아니 대전 아니 지선 로여가나 지라 아니 산지상조 이치 종스 아니 다 담보데 잠로 되네 디파샤바 가로 당가데
여와라지로
개월에 지서 이러와 아니 대제라 아니 산지상조 이치도 아니 상조고 선 대다 간제 이게게 예선도 되시도 디디도지.
So it starts with taking bodhicitta, right? I mean, taking the refuge vow, refuge in the 3 jewels, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And then next line, second line, is for confession, or purification, purifying all the negativities created since beginningless time. And then third one, is rejoicing in the virtuous merit of oneself and all other beings. And then the 4th line, it says, I take the whole in my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. It's like wishing to gain enlightenment. And then after that, again taking refuge. So this is the Mahayana refuge, right? Not just taking refuge to be free from the sufferings of the lower realms or psychism, but to gain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So he says, I take refuge until I'm enlightened. And so until I achieve enlightenment, to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and then and so I do that, to gain enlightenment, or to attain an enlightened mind or bodhicitta, in order to fulfill the aims of myself and others.
아니 샹저고 샘 깨네 가지나 아니 샘제도 저 다건 런데 샹주쇼 영어 저 샘제 처마 아니 소소고 다 가지 다 군론데 저 된데 쉬지 샹주 영어 좀 돌아버지 아니 나도 내가 강 예바데 듣고
And then what do I do after I gain enlightenment, I generate bodhicitta? It says, I shall develop supreme enlightened motive after generating bodhicitta, and towards all sentient beings, my invited guests. So it's like I will invite all the beings, to No, because I just in the gig and send it, Jangchub, so I will invite all the beings, as my guest. And I shall act, with the supreme enlightened conduct, and then may I become Buddha to benefit all. This is not very long, quite short, and if you can recite it every day, after you wake up in the morning, just to generate the mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta, just recite this verse and then think that you have generated the mind of enlightenment. And so at the third repetition, if you are taking a bodhisattva vow, then during the third repetition, then you have to have a strong mind and a thought thinking that you have received the bodhisattva vow. So I have received bodhisattva vow, and now I'm going to do all the things that is required, that is needed, to adopt, everything that is to be adopted or abandoned. I will do that all. So when you do accept that, then that time you have taken the bodhisattva vow. And this is, of course, when you're taking from, somebody, a lama or, a guru.
Oh, that's and the tongue of the Temewachi, and then Dollar Sergeant Double Show, Road Simcha Sanjo Koba, to a chet, and he Sancho was some day. Kevra show, Nauchita, not Jego, do, out in Samna, and it touch Sancho some Zumas Chadu.
Yes, on somewhere.
Yes, on the Kegin.
So, but other time, if you're not talking about soldier, when you're generating, then you at that end, of the third repetition, then you can think that you have generated the bodhicitta in your mind.
Okay, 제자다 가상하는 데 샹초쌤 시에다는 내 마친도 나왔음 소드네. 는 골마 저도 꿀루 가다데 저다 야라 덴바 제디 mambo여 진짜 덴바 제디 mambo여 당도데 디디 치는 게지. 소리 아니 내 답되고 진유이 뭐셔 말해. 아니 내 남주 칸데로 치다나 야보여래.
So this one, like starting with the bodhicitta, refuge and bodhicitta, and then praise to Buddha Shakyamuni and 7 prayers. So, and then after that, you go into the generating bodhicitta. It's there, of course, there are many different versions of these prayers, short and long. And this is pretty short and easy, to do the practice. And so this includes everything.
Okay, 당도 끊어야보 주셔와 당도 오늘 이놈아 다 맛이 전전에 저대 당도 람름 파시 전화도 만보지 당도 람름 상 거네 고 신이 때서네 저대 다 뒤째와 춘대 쳐서 다 단다 샹첩 샘 마치 제마도 방도 로좀 만보 제와도 가와서 보정어래.
So now it's generate a proper motivation, good motivation, thinking that you've been very fortunate, to be able to do this practice of generating bodhicitta, starting with the equanimity, recognizing all sins being one's mother, remember their kindness and so forth. And then even before that, starting from the guru devotion, and then the practice of the small scope, the medium scope, and all the great scopes. And all this, being able to do this is very fortunate. And so we have studied all this, and have reached quite far down now. Of course, study is very important, but if don't put into practice, then it doesn't become that much of useful.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so now to set up a proper motivation, good motivation, and now we're going to recite this one time. Yeah, so chanting master, Bob, can do the reciting, and then others can follow.
Okay, do the repetitions or no repetitions? Yeah, so number 1, 2, 3, you can just recite once.
just number 4, the generating bodhicitta part, you can recite 3 times.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened, I seek refuge through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all, may I become Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. May any small merits that I may have amassed by thus prostrating, making offerings, confessing, rejoicing, and asking the Buddhas to remain and teach the Dharma be dedicated now to supreme and perfect enlightenment. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha assembly, and I do so to attain an enlightened mind. In order to fulfill the aims of myself and others, I shall develop a supreme enlightened motive, and towards all sentient beings, my invited guests, I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha assembly, and I do so to attain an enlightened mind. In order to fulfill the aims of myself and others, I shall develop a supreme enlightened motive, and towards all sentient beings, my invited guests, I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha assembly, and I do so to attain an enlightened mind. In order to fulfill the aims of myself and others, I shall develop a supreme enlightened motive, and toward all sentient beings, my invited guests, I shall act with supreme enlightened conduct. May I become a Buddha to benefit all. That was 3. That was 3.
Okay. Okay, it's wonderful. 아니, 제가 아니 너도 꼴 끝내고 동그란 뭐지 빼는 거 좀 생도 가디나 다 샹초섬지 계셔. 샹초섬 계속. 다 아니 나서 되게 렌데적으로 해서.
So His Holiness Dalai Lama, considers this very important, to generate loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and he encourages, all of his students, to do that through the rituals and so forth. So we should follow his advices.
제정하도 바차야 보시하고 렌데레 제나로.
And by following his advice, and of course by doing it, we create great moment of merit and put a very strong imprint in our minds.
제가 안에 다 단단한도 샹초섬게 거시간다 안에 아차서 쇼인줄레가 담보 이바도 로다야 샹초섬게 폐요래. 근데 폐도 야보하고는 샹초섬 견데고 로제거로 봐.
And also there are other texts, which explains about the benefits of bodhicitta, especially the first chapter of the Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life, which explains all the benefits. And when you see that, that will encourage you to generate bodhicitta. So it's good to read those texts and contemplate on those.
아니 샹초게 샘지 샘베 개와 간데 사바나 간제 산제 도백 좀 로요서리.
So any kind of virtuous action that is conjoined, with the bodhicitta becomes a cause to achieve enlightenment.
아니 샹초게 샘이 마sembe 개와도 아니 다 자상 산제 공부도에 전력을 써야 돼야 되니 소요레스.
And those merits, not conjoined with bodhicitta, will become, or can become the cause for enlightenment or not, and depends on different situations or conditions.
어디지? 아니 다 늘마 아니 샹초게 살라 아니 멤버 샘제다 아니 주바 샘제스 니용도 와.
And so bodhicitta, there are 2 different kinds, right? So talk about the engaging, the wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta.
다 장접심 다 오늘로 다 돈이 되니 자도 그래.
Both are the actual bodhicittas. Both of them are actual bodhicitta.
제가 아니 장접을 섬려야 아니 선점제고네 아니 샘제제고네 아니 빼도 춘도이고네서 예와만 보아서다 너무 대도시만 뭐 어저 디불이요 와.
So there's many different kind of bodhicitta, right? You know, the bodhicitta is divided into many different kinds in terms of the entity, in terms of the nature, in terms of the number, and so forth, right? In terms of the examples and so forth. So there are many different ways.
어떤 거 뒤도 지나까지 맨섬된 주섬이 맨섬된 주섬이 다 모건이 일라 그러다.
In short, there is these two, the wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta. Those are the bodhicittas divided by entity.
다 대니 다 빼고는 것도 샤워가 남친 로와 대동 로와지 셔라치다 시바지스. 다 대가 사자된 로고도 선배 꼴로다. 아니 로웨 샤와를 미수 쇼신비가네. 다 군이 채와도 지바레스로. So
the difference of these two bodhicitta, the wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta, are just like it is explained through the verses, like wishing to go and going. So in order to go, you have to have the wish to go. And then after having the wish to go, if you don't go, then that's not good enough, right? So you have to go. So those two are very just like wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta are just like that.
제가 다 누구 대회 강화도 나 같이 샘치 탐출라 상제 공부 도약체다 다들인가 안에 로마진 된 거도 삼백 그런 것도 다 멤버스 지금 그렇지 안에 다 오늘 무슨 로마도 엄제다 뭐 본도 다 주바세처럼 차로 그래.
And just like you are sitting there and thinking that I must gain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So there's and for that I'm going to recite Tara prayers. So when you have that, that's a wishing bodhicitta. And then with that thought, when you engage in reciting, and when you're actually reciting the Tara prayer, with that thought, that becomes engaging bodhicitta.
제다 다 단당하도 제대에 다 주바 샘체가 끝나는 것도 정도 내가서 내지 시가치를 그랬어.
And so then when we're doing here, what are we doing here? Like listening to the teaching or explaining the Dharma here, sort of becomes like the engaged bodhicitta. So like you had a motivation at the beginning. Again, I must gain enlightenment for the benefit of the being. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the teaching. And now that becomes the engaged bodhicitta. Or from my side, I said for that reason, I'm going to explain the Dharma. So then that becomes also engaged bodhicitta.
가르치나 단어 속에도 담보 짬로돼 봐. 짬로되나 짬로 샘지 같은 소리로 와 특시되나.
Because in the morning when we first started, we started with taking refuge and then generating bodhicitta, right?
제자 남자 담보 딱 들으셔도 반대 끊어서로 잡아도 자주 잡다 끊어서로 그렇지. 근데 끊어 되게 아니 전에 다 내가 가르치나 가도 꼬라치거나 많이지다나 아니 까마가 검잖아. 가가 대화치 보고 아니 추천하고다.
With that bodhicitta motivation. So, when you have generated bodhicitta motivation, and with that motivation, whatever you do, reciting one mala of mantra or even one single mantra, or making a prostration, circumambulating the holy objects like stupa and so forth, all becomes cause to achieving enlightenment.
근데 제가 메질라지 다 내가 이체와네. 다 소소 내가 제다 근데 쇼케네. 저도 다 내가 나를 지는 쇼체나. 다 아니 지금 미만부 제가 편도 중에 들이 제대 내가 책이 있어나고 자체 좀 그런으로 차로 그러고.
And also even your job that you do on your daily job that you do, you can also do with the bodhicitta motivation, right? So you have to do the work, and without that work, other people might not be able to gain the benefits, do their job and so forth. So in order to benefit others, I'm going to do this job. So if you think like that, then that becomes bodhicitta motivation.
제가 내가 제가 안 게도 컨트롤 패하게 제가 가서 삼고 말했어요. 부수 독사로 왔어.
So of course, while you're doing you have to set the motivation at the beginning. It's important to do that, but you don't have to have that thought all the time while you're doing the job. So that would be complicated.
제가 담보 속에 끊어 야부시나 거 니만 내가 되게 가로 팽그래.
So if you have have set up a proper motivation, good motivation in the morning, then that will help, throughout the day, whatever actions you do.
제가 쇼게 나도 쇼게 나오지나 나도 sem바데 때 sem바 흘렸지. sem바데 fresh 야보차데 디감 나도 가르쳐진 거요.
So in the morning, your mind is, a little bit fresh and haven't, got involved in so many things. So your mind is more relaxed and fresh. So it's easy to, maneuver that mind, to whatever direction you want.
그러나 팅하니가 앞에 샘나 지금 마음 두려워나 콘 샘사가 이고 되는데 코 데스 코 발냐 돼. 코 깜짝을 내가 말해.
So even though you had a disturbed or complicated day the other day, because you have spent the night, going to sleep, that thought, from yesterday's activity has calmed down. Has calmed down. It's not manifesting, right? And so therefore it won't be able to disturb you at that much in the morning.
전에 다야 라네 다 내가 고투르 제 아니 컴퓨터 고시오가 다 계산가 때도 야 콜레고 고도 두다네.
So when you start to do your job and open up your computer, and then you start to think about the things that happened yesterday, and then that will start to disturb your mind.
에 가다 야보 전에다 야만 야처럼 다 들이 야보죠. 산이 야보죠. 야보 갈래갈래 야보야로 그러와.
So like that, if you generate a proper motivation in the morning, then your job would be good today, and then and it will be good tomorrow, and then every day, better and better like that.
제가 연구잡 고다도방도 샘 가루 주기다. 갈래카 냐마림보 차트네 시라시 som다도 말해.
And the night is a little bit difficult, to think properly because our mind is pretty disturbed, throughout the day, throughout the day's activities, and you're tired, and to think properly in the night is a little bit difficult.
대전에 쇼케데 빼는 것이 뭐 대다 맨날 나도 남지 차 때문에 뭐냐봐 나절로 잼바서지다 야 냠len 톰보 차들이 연구해서 봐.
And so therefore, it is important, to do it in the morning when your mind is, more fresh and more relaxed, and that's the reason why the practitioners, do start their practice very early in the morning before the dawn, like they say, without sleeping, during the first part of the morning and the last part of the night. So the last part of the night, so usually, it's before the dawn, right? And then before the sunrise and before the dawn. So in between that, you start the practice around that time. So that's the important.
제가 나는 가도 상처점 그런 뒤에 칸에 내가 가리치다와 소소 내가로 드리다 내가 말로 갈다 드리 소소근에 강탑탑 즉 야보책이 편독책이 선배 그런 드리 키지라 아니 아 소소 가와고 나들이 내가데 제지와 때문에 까워서 보잖아 저 아니 내가 명에 가세요 단다 너무 내가 휴대 가세도 나들이 내가 제요 등원에 전에 야보에서 뭐 가져도 되나 제가 가고 말해.
So in the morning, it's good to think like that, to think that I'm going to do this job to benefit others. And also you can rejoice, over the job that you have. So many people in the world now at this time have lost their job. So many people don't have a job. And I'm very lucky, to have this job. So, you can rejoice and be happy thinking like that.
양담장도 내가 맨날 니면요 내가 깔래칸에 전에 되네 부수 돈에 같이 되지 마자 그래.
Some people, they get so stressed, right? When they don't have anything to do in the daytime. They don't have a job and they don't know what to do, then they get so stressed.
그래가 나도 남지 딱 가서 다음 오면 나도 날 주셔라. 딩해랑 나도 날 때 되세면데 날 때 되세면데 나무냠데 되세면데 뭐라. 다 다음 오늘 때다 가서 사만 nhập 그래요. 제가 나도 세면 삼단다지도 와.
So before this, we were so busy with our work, and we think that, I don't have time, to be at home. I don't have time to spend with my family like that. But now, then we are like forced to stay home, for many, many months, and now we don't know what to do.
There is too much every day stay home. 세상에도 생고 섬다다 그래서 아니 소소 바지 소소 내가 쳐야도 가봐 선보였어. 야 가지 내가 제 먹거네 리타이어먼트 전에다 딱 오늘 메세 거라야 미체 내가 제 달래래 되어서 가봐 선보서 야 데리죠 쳐도.
So it all depends on your thought, or how you think about it. So if you have a job, you can say, I'm very lucky I have a job. You can rejoice over that. And then if you don't have a job, you can, if you're retired and you stay home, you say, oh, I'm very fortunate that I can stay and do studies and practice and at home, so very fortunate like that. And if you rejoice or be happy in either situation, then you'll be happy. And so whether you have a job or no, it depends. It makes a difference when you have, when you think in the right way. And then if you are fired or lost job, then you still can be positive by thinking, oh, it's not only me, it's because of this pandemic. So many people in the world have lost that. So you can kind of feel good, right? When you see somebody else is going through the same problem also. So even though you're in a problem, but if you see somebody else is in the same problem, then you feel better, right? So like when you make a mistake or break a law, and then you they say, oh, you did bad, and you are taken to the place, like a court, and then when you see there's so many people, they're all just like me, there are so many people, then you don't feel that much bad maybe. And so anyway, yeah, so it depends, of course, it makes big difference, in the way you think, set up your mind or motivation. So in every situation, you can rejoice on whatever situation you are in. I was talking with my monk friends now on the Facebook that we're very fortunate to be a monk. You don't have to worry about your family, children, husband, wife, like that. So you're very happy. You're very fortunate to be monk. But then also you can also but also like people with their family, husband, wife, children, they can also rejoice over the life that they have, to share with others and to benefit others and like that. And so in any situation you can rejoice and be happy. Yeah, so anyway, if you know how to think in proper way, then you can be happy, whether you are a monk or a lay person.
Okay? It makes sense? Oh, it does not make sense. So
if it makes sense, then you should think in that way. Because if you don't think in that way, then you just listen to that, then there's no use, right?
There's some good.
You should think. So we are not able to, come to the center and meet with each other, but we can meet in this way. So when we meet in this way, it's very similar to meeting in a person at the center, right? And you can listen to each other, you can talk to each other, you can see each other. So then there are also many other benefits. You don't have to worry thinking that, oh, I'm going to be late to the teaching, or I have to drive so far like that, or I'm going and I will not be able to find a parking like that. So you don't have to worry about this thing. So there are so many benefits like that. If you think those things, then you can feel happy just having this virtual class like that.
제장도 남주 삼다다를 채워 줘야 돼. 삼다다.
And so it's just the way we think, right? That makes big difference.
근데 내가 에디나서 주된이랑 봐야 그 주된이랑 봐야 거는 그다 지금 요 맞아 봐. 제가 딱 그런 예산을 되네. 그때 내 저.
Mom's angry. Mom's angry.
Why is mom angry? So like Ed, has to drive maybe like 2 hours, right? To come to if you have to come to the center, 2 hours. Now you don't have to worry about driving for so long, and you can be in your bed, on your pajamas and just listen to the teaching.
제장도 근데 내래 강가 간지 딱으로 랩에 쇼로 삼다는 너무 쉬워 따요. 제장도 멜레베 쇼다 멜레바 짱짱다는 멜레바 장에 차로야.
So if you think about the good side of it, then there's so many good sides to think about, but if you think bad side, then there are also so many bad, sides to think about.
제장도 bad side 좀 라바 많자 샤샤 코 샤샤이다. 코 갈래.
So don't think about the bad side at all, just think the good side,
Okay. 제장도 두 전장도 삼단다. 아니 삼의 팽거 땡고는 삼의 팽거리.
So anyway, so if you think in that way, then it will, help your mind.
장가도 수수 셈발 흘려요. 셈을 패야 돼. 강화탑도 담보 수수 셈발 흘려요. 되는 것도 전으로 빠져도 그러와.
Yeah, so then first, you feel happy or relax yourself by thinking in that way. And once you are happy and relaxed, then you can benefit others.
This is impermanent, you see. Broken. Okay. Hey Kunjo, how are you?
Okay.
You complaining? Okay, like that, right? I think we are wonderful. Just stay home, relax. You don't have to put the dress nice. Just this, better to just take it for all good qualities. Okay. Any questions? Yeah, Deborah.
So I have a question about what you were talking about a little bit earlier about the difference between sharp faculty bodhisattva and a dull faculty bodhisattva. What's the difference in the steps between the two? I was confused about when each develops great compassion.
가서. 다음 주 좀 모르지.
나 전주스면 노들기 개발 가르했어. 가서 인지 전부 깨닫는 거라. 인지 전부 깨닫는 게 차네. 전주스면 봐 엉보 노들 개발 가르했어.
전주스면 봐 엉보 노들 세나베나. 다 람라야 마추뱅에네 돈이 돈바니 돈에들 엉보 논보세다. 근데 람라 슈비 제스 돈이 돈에들 시다 엉보 도보들 그래서.
So the difference between the sharp faculty bodhisattva and the dull faculty bodhisattva, is having realized emptiness or not before entering the path.
Okay.
딜랑도 샹지고선 맞배나 그 배시나 아니 샹지선 뭐 온보 뚜보이나 아니 자와 아니 돈요 또바 대야 아니 이제라 라래 그래들라고 왔어. 온보 뚜보이 말이나. 가르에서나 아니 그 샹지고 샘께 대가 끊어 제네 아니 샘지 탐지고 최대까지 82개 냠려는 주거래. 아니 돈요 또고 그래서 요. 샹지 이제면나 아니 샹지 샘께 말해. 샹지 맞잖아 아니 82개 냠려는 주고 말해. 대마 돈이 또고 말해서 제가 돈이 또바는 이제라 라래 그래서 그 파도병도 파파리 온보도 볼라 온보는 볼라 안에 담보배나 샹초샘 깨고 누구섬에 깨 구바도 또 그래서 깨 구바도 또 보자 다깨 토건도 문도 상제 누구도 따제 전에 안에 돈이 또 되네 전에 고상제도 깨 그래서
나딘이 좀 뭐또 라래 뭐라 나딘이 좀 몰라 라래 뭐라 돈이 또 볼라
텔라래 배나 담보고 섬제 이제 전부 쟤네 산재 공부 톱고다 누구삼 고 삼고 여러 봤어. 이번에 대대면나 고 안에 대토비아 누dom도 따지체 말했어. 대토비아 누dom도 따지 쟤네 돈이 또 되네 저는 이제 그래. 나 담보 이제 돈이 또 알아지 답시 용화도 이제 고다 꿀맞춰 여러 봐.
나 간제다 닝제 전부 받을 찍어라. 온돈데 잘.
막 그런 거 잘하다.
말다 닝제 전부 개야 받을 찍어라.
말.
마실 텐데 전선에 저는 닌심부터 좀 찍어야 돼.
그래서 제가
제가 지금 담보 돈이 또 내네 람라슈. 닝심부 제라 찍기 때는 람라쇼 때는 제라 때는 냠내전 돈이도.
대말변나 산조 삼보 온보 넘보고 변나 마시르도 제거 말다 당부 마체 가네야. 아니 semje 탐제 산제 고모 톱 고산도 우스 톱 고건도 톱 구바도 또 그래 톱 고건도 다 원나 톱 고건도 뭐도 따제 전에 톱에 요사리 아니 덴저 빠에도 아니 고발에 들어간도 아니 돈이 또 되네 전에 고 아니 단도 마시르래 야치는 찬주 좀 제로 그래서
되나도 되네 닝심부 개요 말하던데 이거.
니 제거 말다 니 제마 에나 니 좀
근데
마치
돈이 또 하든 닝심부 떼고 말아.
땡겨 그때나 가르잖아 아니 semje 삼을 아니 다
말하면
중화도
마시는데 신경 알아.
대도 용어 대도 신의 용어 해나야 가르나 샤접섬 산제
먼저 데이터스 다기면도 가서는 닝제 마시는데 제라가 된 닝심부 거라.
되는 말이 대삼단 두
다다 돈이 또 사내 되네 마시는 신의 도야에도 되네. 가셔면 돼.
말 노세다 대체리 제 오너는 게 general 맹어든지 아니 도마 마시반 이제 지부 봐다 아니 온보노보다 아니 semje던데 된지 삼도 단데 semje다 산제 톱 구바 또 그래 단다 산제 코 곰요 말다 마시 텐데도 곰네 산제 고모 톱 고도 고스 또고요 그래서 온보노보디 나 단다 코 남지 단다 코 니치 먹고 절 제어 말다
네, 마시는 건 거라.
제가 마시 텐데도 곰네 이제 전부 gel라지나 산제 고보 또 고은 누고 삼 그래서
네가.
다들
어디에서나 닝제 좀 보지 마라.
대치받아나 다또 응해지셔
닝제 좀 제라가 되는 신경 거라. 돈이 또 맞도 돼.
말말 뒤니 좀 매는 돈이 또다 이제 맞으면 돈이 또다
내내 돈이 또 하는 닝제 좀 어떻게 말아.
제자 두단에 두서다 대전에 지 온보노보다 가려서나 마시 텐데 주소서 곰네 산제 공부 톱고 누고 또 그래 산조세 맞으면 된다 톱 고바다 또 그래서 다 원래 톱에 톱근도 문도 삼네 아니 그 고바라 빠야도 내가 매바치야도 돈이 또 되네 제네 아니 그 아니 마시 텐데 저거는 자주도 그래서
야, 마시는데 됐어. 됐어 제라 되나 또 돈이 상계 고도 선에 또 상계 고도 선에 삼바게 상계 고도 선에 삼바게 상계 고도 되나 상계 두개나 면서 되나 다 다시 되네.
산제 고바다 또 그래 산제 고도
상계 고도
똑지
마시는 제라.
어제
마시는데 됐어 제라라.
마시 텐데 주소 곰 아니 니제 곰 샹조선보다 산제 곰바 또 고바다 또 그래서 다코 니제 제어 말다 그 돈이 또요 말에 다들 내 고삼다 알레 테네 오늘 테네 제 톱근도 톱고 만들었네 아니 그 똥반에서 돼 또 안도 아니 돈이 고발에 빵아요 봐 덴자 빵아요 봐 돈나 그 돈이 돈도 그래서 테네 돈이 또는데 지네 아니 마시든도 샹조선 제그래서
뭐를 어디 간대. 뭐를 어디 마시는데 됐는데 됐는데 가서 돈 장주선 저렇게 고기 로바디 또 오라. 마시는데 됐어 제라.
말이
양 마시는데 됐어 그거야.
말 대성로 말다
배경은 담아서 뒷마스다. 이 가서 도단데.
영는 게좀 빼자 걸 말로 주시다
야야.
샹조선방 오는지 샹조가 섬다 돈유튜브에 시라지 써와 니절라 라래 봐 인데스
오늘들아.
오는 거지
어허.
대신에 이제 오는지 전에 명어 된지 도말 마시바네 이제 전부 바를 레버르 곰베 semje 단주지 된다 산제 톱 구바 또
어디 나도 닌데 좀 벌레 벌 곰베스.
제자도 곰네 또 고는 다 곰요 말다
또 아니.
단다 그 곰요 말다 대지 곰네 산제 곰바 톱 구바다 또 그래서
아니 아니 디젤로.
디제서 드니 바자다 제바 뽕위스 조베 산제지 곰바데 톱 니서 머니 제브라시 대 제브라시네 덴데지 셰여 리페 남라 타이베거니 뇌지지 템베 덴데지 셰여 체메 체베고니 드니 바자다 제바 뽕위 조베 산지 체메 적 아니 산지도 그래 되네 다그 산지 곰바 톱을 샤오니 아니 진짜 산지 셈게 그래서
어디 데이터 검사도 되네. 니도 좀 봐도 검사도.
그러면 되네 또 다그 셈지 산지 곰바 톱을 샤고 냐면 아니 산지 셈 진짜 그래서
아니
또 셈이 지라
아니
산지 다 되네 다 대임이 진짜라 아니
디젤 갈라도.
대절라 다 임이 지다 아니 다시 투지다 롱로도 대절이 이제 온보노도
말에 결혼해서 나다데 다는 것도 니도 좀 봐도 곰네 되네. 다 니도 좀 봐도 곰네 다 상기 고도 삼바게.
말마 곰이 말다 곰
상기가 누가 도움도 다도네 다 거라 드니 바체 빵바이나 아니 빵바이나 때 가서 톰 누가 두스 아 텔라 티치드네 다 돈이 또 고선데 돈이 또 Then don't sine shine then change some ke.
Yeah.
Tera ta ni chimbo de chibara.
매매 대체는 니지심이 다는 니지심이 고매야 된다. 상접sem 맞아.
단다 랍다 저도 니 chimbo ke sana ni chimbo de bar gomne sida.
마마마. 제가 대 곰네 깨고도 그곰 탑기자 말다. 상접sem 제월에 마시 텐데네 니지 침보바 곰네 상제고 상제고 아니 고바 톱고 누바 또 말했어. 대 곰네 로다도 고 신거다. 단 로게 기자 말다.
마르마 도사인그리고.
로사만 대네 전에 대 로사는 좀 아니
마르마 람라데 니지 chimbo ke ne de 당보 돈유 돈네 de shine change some kera. 티세도는 다 따지도. 제마도 저게 다 마시드는 마서고는 니 돈유 돈네 de 양 니지 chimbo 줄게 계신데
뭐뭐 대 단답이나 로마지가 내가서 상주선보 오보 눈보 돈이 도바 대 두스 접거든. 답답해.现在 상주선 맞지면 해라야. 아니 마시든지 주소 검내 상주선 깨고 걔네 상주고 뭐 토고받고 또 열다. 다 오늘 또 토고는 아니 대대 셈에 가지 또 와이나 아니 돈이 또 살아. 드네 셈에 가
대신에 되는 장주선 껴라.
따지는 거 상주든지 람쇼게. 아니 마시든지 주소
니한테 전부 받아 찍봐 그리고
말만 이제 셈에 고매래. 드네 셈에 다 마시든지 주소 검내 이제 좀 깨래.
All right, so little bit of disagreement with Geshe-la's explanation. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure out before I translate. So in the text, it says for the sharp faculty bodhisattva, you familiarize or meditate well from recognizing all sentient beings as your mother all the way to the compassion. Then once you have meditated well on that, then you see that you need to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then you check whether it is possible to, gain enlightenment. You see that it is necessary, it is necessary to gain enlightenment. But whether it's possible to gain enlightenment or not, you check that. And then you see, what is, if it is possible or not, then what is preventing it? So what is preventing it, is the grasping of the true existence. And if that can be purified or not, or that can be abandoned or not. When you see that, yes, in order to abandon that, you have to realize emptiness. So first, you realize emptiness. And then it's yes, it is possible, to gain enlightenment if you realize emptiness. And then you generate bodhicitta, like that. So it says like that. So that's what it says in the text. But Geshe said, you haven't really meditated on the compassion. So once you have realized emptiness, then you go back, to develop, go back, to recognize all sentient beings as your mother, remember their kindness, and then develop the wish to repay their kindness, and then generate compassion, and then loving kindness and compassion. So that's, I don't know, that feel like repeating, going back. So that's the case of the sharp faculty bodhisattva. So they realize emptiness before they enter into the path. And then for the dull faculty bodhisattva, they realize emptiness after they have entered into the path.
람라 마시뱅게 데펜데 제가 로사가 람깔 마시뱅게 제가 람까데 가리가리 로고 하고 왔지. 되네 다 람깔 신는 거는 로고로 와. 어디서
배 숨어서 돼. 오늘 넘보기 빼디.
제가 온보 넘보게 빼나 아니 마시 텐전에 아니 드니야 곰네 아니 샤주 상본데 상제 콤바 톱 고군도 대구바 또 그랬어. 다 원나 톱 누구도 뭔데 삼나 따니 아니 댄스 쉐마 바 똥sama 다톱 내기도 삼네. 아니 돈이도 되네 쉐네 아니 마시 텐전도 샤주 상께로 그랬어.
다 세도는 다 닌지 전부도 제일 깨라다.
니지 좀 제제제래. 얘나 니지 전부를 하래 버렸어. 돈이 또 니지 좀 하래 버렸어.
야, 간에서 하래 되네.
제가 니지 전부
제일 깨는 닌지 뭐 이렇게
저 단요라 사지 때려. 제가 그러나
말때 니선발라 닌지 전부도 집어 두고 가서 가지.
말말 텐드기 말. 단다 될려래. 단다데 바나 특신도 두선나 강가지네. 토마 샘지도 도베 산지 콤 고바다. 토 니바니 테메 레프라트네. 대제의 샘지도 산지 토버 차고님데 샘지 담자와니 전세 야다 많도바 아니 담모자 오모 눈불로 많이 넣었어. 전세 자단 통과까지 그 또고 그래서 똑선에 신의 그 쉬고
또야 되는 인지 전부 깨산에 또고라 또나 디거라.
뭐 텐트게 말해 이제 좀 봐나 로다 강하고 또 그래 다보 마시고 것도 이제 곰고도 생제 봐 아니 전에 산제 고모 톱고도 오늘 때 톱고도 문도서네 아니 그 돈이 또 그래서 근데 돈이 더 아니 신이 다 산제도 깨로 그래서
인지 전부다 인지 전부 또 그거도 인지 전부 깨 그거도 삼바디 얼마 지금 인지 전부 깨 말아.
깨 어디 깨 말해
인지 전부 깨 그거도 삼바요.
이제 좀 깨
근데 돈이 또 로디라 인지 전부 라리가 말아 인지 전부 깨 그거도 삼바 라리가.
마마 이제 그러니까 다 고대서 뭐 간제 대 이제 전부 라래 말다 간제 돈이 또 받이
인지 전부 깨 말아 되네 콜라.
깨도 말다 가는 이제 좀 깨다는 그러네 그다 거라
So anyway, my understanding is that if you are Dal faculty bodhisattva or Sha faculty bodhisattva, is that it's the same until the great compassion. Right? So you go through the recognize all sin as your mother, and then remember their kindness, wishing to repeat their kindness, then affection and love, and then you generate compassion. So when you have compassion, then you see that you have to gain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. But is it possible or not? Then you search, for the way to see if it's possible or not. Yes, it is possible if you overcome the delusions or obstructions. And in order to do that, you have to realize emptiness. And then you realize emptiness first, and then you generate bodhicitta. So that will be the Sha faculty bodhisattva. But Geshe is saying that you don't have to generate, you don't have to go through the sevenfold cosmic instruction. You just have to have that thought. Yeah, you have to have the thought of going to of having you just have to have the thought to generate great compassion. You don't have to generate great compassion. You have to have the thought to generate compassion. And then once you have that, then you see whether it's possible to achieve enlightenment or not. And then upon abandoning the two obstructions, when you see it's possible, by realizing emptiness, then you say, oh yeah, it's possible. So now you go back, to meditate on, recognize all things, remember the kindness, and all the way to great compassion, to compassion. So after generating, after realizing emptiness, right? So then it seems like contradicting, to say that the realization of emptiness, for the Sha faculty bodhisattva also depends on great compassion. It's contradictory because you haven't developed great compassion yet. But then Geshe is saying, yes, it's developed already. So then it's not developed and developed. So, and that he says this is where it's a complicated parties.
단다대도 앞에나 대한 이제 첨부 사삼 남다다 집이 제서 레버를 콘도시니 제서 레버 제라 제서 레버를 콘도시니 샘지단주도 사제 공부 톡 구바도 그래서 대지의 진의 돈이 또 그러면 이제 첨부는 사삼 라도 제라 제네 라고다 제서 레버 콘도시고 제서 간여 하고네 아니 시내 돈이 또 그래서 대내 시내 산지도 또 그래서
So 대는 먼저 나시다. 나도 레버스 살때 먼저 깨요 말아.
오, 나 나도 집어로 대대 집어로 차거다.
So in the one text, it says that you have to first understand well that you have to develop all these sevenfold cause-and-effect instruction. I mean, the first, the six causes. You have to understand that, all the way from recognize also as your mother, all the way to the altruism or superior intention, right? You have to understand that. So just like in our case, let's say in our case, we understand that, right? We understand that, but have we realized the general? Have we developed, the altruism? No, not yet. But we understand.
Oh,
that you have to have the altruism, and then altruism means like to take the responsibility upon oneself, to liberate all sentient beings, right? So, and you have to have understanding only. You don't have to have developed in your mind yet. And so once you have that understanding, then you see, oh, but is it possible to gain enlightenment or not? And then in that case, then you see, oh, there's these obstructions. So how to overcome them? Is by realizing emptiness, and then you strive in realizing emptiness. Then once you have realized emptiness, then you go back, and develop all this. Recognize also your mother, remember their kindness, and all the way to great compassion, and then bodhicitta like that.
This makes sense. That 대야오죠. 제가 그냥 간주고 그냥 다테 로사데 차상가도 하고 있는 간주 깨어 말와. 이나 당아도 사제여서나 사제여래 고발라 간다. 아니 다한테 쉐마 봐 요래 아니 말이 봐 도와도 간도 다 셀 나도 간도 로다로 차려다.
So like in our case, we understand that, right? We understand. We haven't developed yet, but we understand. We have the intellectual knowledge only, but we don't have that realization. And but it is possible. Is it possible, to gain enlightenment? And then he says, yes, it's possible, because what prevents one from gaining enlightenment are the two obstructions. So if you overcome the two obstructions, then it's possible like that.
제가 두 지삼 단들이나 만주절에는 코알 산지 톱산 두 something 삼바드 깨야돼 아니 이게 가로서 가로 아니 마시트네도 계산 곰토들라 라 레게 레베선다 간도랭까지 왔어.
And so in that way, if we say, okay, so like in our case, right, we have the understanding. We have not developed yet, but we have understanding, about the great compassion, altruism, and all these things, right? And so we think that is it possible for us to gain enlightenment? We see now, like it's important. We understand that it is important to gain enlightenment, but is it possible, to gain enlightenment or not? Yes, it is possible, if we abandon the two obstructions.
제가 되게 something 영화때 이게라 알로 라 레게 돼.
And then in order to do that, you have to realize emptiness. And so anyway, so that thought, just now, the thought, wanting to gain enlightenment and having, seeing the importance, to gain enlightenment, and to do so, we have to gain, we have to realize emptiness. All this, does it depend on your understanding about the altruism, great compassion, loving kindness, wishing to repay the kindness, and then remembering their kindness and recognize all of the sentient beings as your mother? Does it depend on that?
That is on the that is on the chetan the yabodu.
Yes, makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
That's sharp faculty you just described.
Yeah, that no bot kishari rota.
So that's so you don't have to 딱 간절라 돈 다 ninja 첨보라 ninja 무줄라 깨고가 마다 ninja 첨보기 다 콜라 쉐고
야 쉐고 콜 쉐고 어데데데
ninja 첨보 콜라 쉐고 or the ninja 첨보줄라 깨고가
exactly that.
So in the case of the sharp regular bodhisattva, you don't have to that realization of emptiness doesn't depend on having developed great compassion, but depends on understanding about the great compassion.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay. It's a little complicated, says, it's compassion not that. They got the pen at Sawashara to know, sorry, Omo Jubenala. Cheta Tandang to what at the time in Jupege and the Omishidena to say over. Tadangelo that Omishide later.
So it is explained really clearly in the engaging in the middle way and the fundamental wisdoms.
제가 땡가서 리파가 한 먹었는데 얘기도 없나. 간도질라 근데 삼제 담중도 산제 고마 톱도 로드 가르제네 톱 고군도 삼아 가르제요 오래 간제 니제도 야 비자 당요 그러고.
So whether it's the actually developed compassion or understanding about compassion, right? It depends on that, for one to achieve enlightenment.
제가 대연에 된다 안에 산제 고서 톱에 연나 매나 삼네 다 고와라 빠야 요와다 간제 덴득이 셰메바 또에서만 아니 그 돈이 걸 삼다요 그러고.
So if it is based on your understanding about compassion, knowledge about compassion, and with that, you see that, it is important to gain enlightenment, but whether it is possible or not, to gain enlightenment. And then you see the reason why you can't gain enlightenment is these things that is preventing you from gaining enlightenment, and what they are, and how do they abandon them, by realizing emptiness. So when you see that, when you see that, then then you come to understand. Then you come to realize, see that, understand that. First, you have to realize emptiness. Then you strive to realize emptiness.
제가 대답하다 고 다 빼잖아 두신 대시자야 다 데려 당가도 깨매다 가도 하고 말어.
So that's how it is explained in the text. So we are just basing on the text because we don't have any realizations yet.
제가 단다 아니 오보 어때 오보 넘버도 다 오보 또 뭐데 아니 이제 제 샹치고 쌤 이제 제대로 제라 아니 신의 파신 조근염내다 아니 돈이 도요다 아니 대야 안 돈이 도바디 이제 좀 라래 그래 그 두시다 다 빼자고 셔다 요다.
And then that's in the case of the sharp faculty bodhisattva. So in the case of the dull faculty bodhisattva, of course, you go through developing all those sevenfold cause and effect instruction. and then through that generate bodhicitta, and then enter into the path, and then use strive in practicing the 6 perfections, and then realize emptiness like that.
It's more confused. Okay, Jennifer, you have some question?
Of the 2 ways to generate bodhicitta, the 7-fold cause and effect, and then also equalizing and exchanging oneself with others, I have read that the equalizing and exchanging oneself with others is the method for the sharp faculty.
Yeah.
Bodhisattva. Is this the same type of sharp faculty bodhisattva?
네, 대대리
So in that case, they never
오모노 해다나 텔라야 아니 지금 로고 그랬어. 아니 맛이 텐데 저도 요거 샤바바 로고 그래. 인자라.
단단한도 전주에서 오모노도 집어래 그래서 그래.
네, 집어래. 세단 오모노 집어래 그래.
말에 제나다 먼저 다시 냄적
카르카르테 테마 말마 다다 다시 냄적은 샤조셉 제지도. 안다 진짜 명가더니 대니 오모노도 제바이나 아니 다시 냄적은 샤조셉 제가 돼 샤조셉 오모노 보레스.
대통령도 맞겠지 말아요.
대통령도 맞겠지 말해.
So it's not the same kind of sharp faculty bodhisattva. When you generate bodhicitta in that way, then you are more advanced, than the bodhisattva who's generating bodhicitta through 7-fold cause and effect instruction.
대샘식 최종께서 다 샘식 체험이잖아. 와 제도마도 가지 로호
So you are more courageous, courage. How courageous you are, So to exchange yourself with others, you have to be pretty courageous, right? To think about others more than oneself, So that means like you are more advanced in the bodhisattva.
Okay.
Thank you, Geshe.
Okay, Mori.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Geshe.
It's not good morning. It's good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. I wanted to make a comment about when you tell us that it's a good idea to listen to some of the Western interpretations and the way that they explain the teachings. I found a teaching by another Western teacher, Venerable Robina Corton. On her website, she has some videos that are actually explaining this section of the Lam-rim that we're talking about, the compassion, and it's called If You Want to Help Others, Practice Compassion. If You Want to Help Yourself, Practice Compassion. It's one of His Holiness quotes. So it's like four videos, and it's I find it very helpful to help to understand, find more understanding. Her and Venerable Amy Miller and Pema Chodron also very, very good teachers to explain.
Okay, good.
That's what I wanted to just share with everybody. Thank you so much, everybody.
Good. Okay, Bob.
Just a quick question. When you said for the sharp faculty bodhisattva, realizing emptiness before entering the path, did that mean realizing emptiness directly, or just realizing in the manner of meaning generality?
Yeah, in the manner of meaning generality.
Okay.
And then
Realizing directly only happens, when you become Arya, superior being.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. Okay, now we stop.
Saji perki juxing me tok tron re rabling jini de genpa di sange jingdu me te owagi dokun nang dak jing la che pa shu je tsun la me ko tse rapten jing na kratrin le tok juki pa dang lo san ten bedru me sasum gi drowe mun sel tak tu ne gyu chig ye dam guru ratna mandalakam yiriatayami. In that snow-mounted encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenmezig remain in life till samsara's end. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Through this virtue, may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha's state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious Supreme Bodhi Mind, may where unborn arise and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Mei tse wei ter chen chen rezik, dri mei kien pei wang po jom tel yang, gang chen ke pei su gen Tsongkhapa, lo sang grak pei Jabla Sowade. Thank you,
Good.
Geshe. Thank you,
Do
Damchala.
you guys want to see one movie? I will show you one monk's prayer, okay? Or can I make some more? Oh. I show you that one monk's prayer, okay? This is the house two monks. Do you see? That's it.
Oh, very nice. Thank you, Geshe.
The monks pray.
Wonderful.
That was wonderful.
They're all moving like this.
Yeah.
This is the
Thank you, Geshe.
they happen like they have to move like that. Okay, have a good night. Oh, wonderful day.
And just
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.
Geshe.
Thank you, Jangchub. Thank you, everyone.